This isn't another Star Wars episode, I'm just really bored. It was recently announced that ReedPop, the organizers behind such popular conventions like C2E2, Star Wars Celebration, PAX, New York Comic Con, and UFC Fan Expo, will be launching a new convention in New York in June of this year. Called Special Edition NYC, this new convention is going to be focused on comics and comics alone. To quote ReedPop Vice President Lance Fensterman, "It's really about creators, artists, dealers, and some publishers. We're trying to keep it really pure to comics with a little bit of an indie bend to it. Just something for that pure comic fan and something for the creator community." Excuse me one second. Yes! Oh, thank the Lords of Cobalt, this is happening! You have to understand something. I've been attending New York Comic Con every year since its inception in 2006. And what started out as an awesome gathering of fans to just get together and nerd out has evolved into an excellent argument for depopulation. There's just more and more shit going on every year that's making it harder and harder for people to have fun. And while I have a good time there, that good time is constantly interrupted by crowded floors or vendors who really have no business being there. Geico and Chevy were at New York Comic Con last year. And because there's just so much going on, it's getting harder and harder for people to see everything that the show has to offer. The only way to do that is to go multiple days, which, if you're going to go more than 2, you're probably suicidal. Last 2 years, I missed everything that was going on in Artist Alley, which they moved to all the way on the other side of the convention center, away from everything else. This new con, however, according to Lance Fensterman, is apparently inspired by how popular Artist Alley has become. So this is going to be apparently one big Artist Alley. Perfect. Nothing but comic book vendors and comic book writers and artists. Maybe a panel here and there. That's all I need. Sounds like there's not going to be any major studios pushing big budget movies on us. Sounds like there's not going to be any casts from any TV shows currently airing or going to be airing. Sounds like there are going to be no panels or booths for video games. And perhaps most importantly, there's going to be no f***ing anime or manga. Now, I have nothing against anime and manga. I love me some Trigun, some Cowboy Bebop, Tezuka's Phoenix series, all that jazz. It's fine. But every time you add those two things into something that's primarily US comics focused, next thing you know, you're surrounded by 100 Narutos and Sailor Moons. Seriously though, next time you're in like a Barnes & Noble or any major bookstore, if those still exist, go to the graphic novel section and just see how much manga you see compared to regular comic books. It's mind-boggling. Last year I went to the Eternal Con. It was at the Cradle of Aviation in Garden City, Long Island. The Cradle of Aviation is basically the size of a multiplex movie theater, so this was not a large con by any stretch of the imagination. But it was cool because it was reminiscent of the way Comic Cons used to be back in the day when they were held in hotel conference rooms. There were just small, intimate affairs where fans could just go to comic vendors and talk to creators without fear of it turning into those videos on YouTube of Japanese trains during rush hour. If you haven't seen those, by the way, those are hysterical. They're literally pushing and packing people into trains in Japan. I'll have annotations here, as you can see a whole bunch of them. And nowadays, all the big Comic Cons just look like the internet exploded everywhere. Not just comic books, but movies, TV, video games, anime and manga, car insurance, apparently. And while all that's fine, it would be nice if there was some place where comic fans can go to just get a pure comic book experience aside from the store every Wednesday. If it sounds like I'm being an old curmudgeon back in my day kind of thing, I apologize. But any comics fan will tell you that Comic-Con, while great, has just gotten way out of hand. It'd be nice to finally attend an event where lines aren't 10 hours long, or I'm running into people every now and then. I can just walk up to Rob Liefeld and ask him why he can't draw feet. Or I can just rummage through a back bin without knocking into 10 people dressed like Ghostbusters. Since they're only expecting about 10,000 people to show up to Special Edition NYC, as opposed to the 130,000 that showed up to New York Comic Con, I'll probably only bump into like 2 Ghostbusters and maybe a Louis Tully. So 3 Ghostbusters, if you count him. So Special Edition NYC can combine the intimacy of Eternal Con with the money and prestige of New York Comic Con, then we may be looking at the best con to happen in a long while. It's scheduled for June 14th and 15th at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. If you're into comics, I definitely think this is something to be checking out. I'm sure more information is going to be coming along in the coming weeks. But let's not go telling everybody just yet. We don't want this exploding into New York Comic Con, which is slowly trying to be San Diego Comic Con, which people call it Las Vegas for nerds. I'd call it Vietnam for nerds. It's horrifying. But that's it for me this week. As always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like. Hit me up on Facebook and Twitter, or leave a comment in the video below. Let me know if you're going. I'll probably see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Remember, Jeremy Irons, play up your Britishness. That goes a long way. I'm just assuming Jeremy Irons watches this show. It's Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my god, how could I forget about Red Dead Redemption?
Oh my god, how did you?
I might have to take something off my list for Red Dead Redemption.